Every single one of us has genius inside. What if we were brave enough to believe it? One of my favorite memories growing up as a kid was Thanksgiving weekend. Our cousins would drive up from Long Island, and for days the house would be filled with that smell of onions and stuffing and turkey and thick family tension. But of all our traditions, there was one I looked forward to most. Every year on the Friday, we'd all bundle up and go out to the movies. I looked forward to this every year, but especially the years we went to go see a new Harry Potter. Gryffindor. I remember one year going into my mom's makeup bag to grab her eyeliner pencil to draw the little lightning bolt on our foreheads. That memory with my family wouldn't be real. In fact, none of my memories of being huddled up in bed with a thick book devouring page after page of the Harry Potter saga. Or fast forward to just a few months ago, I was speaking with my sister-in-law who lives in Sydney, who flew down with her husband on a special trip to go see the theater production on stage of Harry Potter in Melbourne. All this imagination sparked, all of these memories created for millions of people around the world would not be real if in 1990, one woman sitting on a delayed train on her way from Manchester to London had not been brave enough to take out her pen, bring it to the page, and take that first bold step to turn her idea into reality. Potter Inc. today is estimated to be a $25 billion operation. And while there is no doubt about it, J.K. Rowling is an absolute genius, I don't think she's got something that special. No offense. I believe every single one of us has unique genius inside, waiting to be expressed, a message that wants to be spoken, a purpose that wants to be pursued, and a legacy that wants to be left. But most of us don't act on it because we don't believe we can do it. J.K. Rowling was working as a researcher and a secretary when she first conceived the idea for Harry Potter. It took 7 years for that first book to come into publication, and during that time, she endured almost every struggle imaginable. All of the music and the stories that have shaped our collective culture and imagination, all of the technology and devices now so woven into the fabric of our lives that a reality without them seems unthinkable. All of this life as we know it is the result of individual people like you and me choosing to risk pursuing an idea within them. So why not you? What is it that stops everyday people like you and me from risking becoming who we were meant to be? That is the question I have devoted my life to for the last few years. As a business coach and success catalyst for entrepreneurs, I've helped everyone from digital marketers to dog walkers rediscover their unique genius and bravely share it with the world. In my time, I found there are 3 main roadblocks that no matter who you are or what path you're pursuing are likely to get in your way. The first is the fear of failure. Now, if you've ever felt an inkling of curiosity bubble up inside you that says, ooh, I really want to do that, or I kind of want to try that, you know that the immediate response that fires next, thanks to your amygdala, the center in your brain responsible for triggering fear, is, whoa, 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 hold it right there. This is not safe, back it right up. The fear of failure runs deep, and in our heads sounds a little something like this. Just what do you think you are doing? What if you fall flat on your face? What if you fail? What if you flop, have to live under a bridge in a cardboard box, or worse, move back in with your parents? Do you really think that's a good idea? Sound familiar? I remember in August of 2014, the exact moment I sent in my resignation letter, walking away from the position as Spanish teacher I'd worked so hard in graduate school to get. And with one swift click of the send button, there went my health insurance, income security, and any semblance of a clue of what I was doing. I loved being in front of the room. I loved inspiring young minds, but I knew that my life's purpose was not to teach the subjunctive clause to 14-year-olds. Something had to change. I wasn't miserable, but I felt stagnant and numb. Viscerally, like I had untapped potential rotting inside me, but I had no idea what I wanted or how to go about doing it. What I did know was that staying stuck was no longer an option. When is the last time you have felt a gut instinct that it was time for something to change, that something else was calling you? When's the last time you've brushed that instinct off, buried it away, or deemed it crazy because you felt terrified of leaving behind the comfort of your safe, known world? It's in this moment, I call it the face-off moment, when there's a truth bubbling up inside you. Your gut knows you were born for more. Your brain is terrified and you're asking yourself, can I really do this? It's in this moment that I want you to ask yourself just how exactly you define failure. Spending your life, this one shot you get in this body, in this time, on this planet, here to do something, avoiding decisions that stretch your growth, that is the real failure. Every meaningful thing worth doing in your life is going to require you, at one point or another, to get outside your comfort zone. If you fail, so what? Do you think that any of the people that you look up to, anybody that you admire, has gotten to where they are because they strategically, magically came into possession of the one path that allowed them to sidestep failure? No. Making mistakes, hitting roadblocks, falling down, that's par for the course when you're literally doing something you have never done before. But failure is not that. Failure is getting to the end of your life, wondering, what if I just went for it? And wishing you'd been brave enough to try. Now this is where it gets really good. Because the moment you redefine your definition of, and therefore your relationship with failure, you get to roadblock number 2, which is not the fear of failure, but the fear of success. When you stop incessantly asking yourself, what if this doesn't work? Another question arises. What if this does work? What if I'm actually really good at it? What if this starts to build momentum and reality as I know it right now is completely about to change? Can I really handle that? Am I ready for it? Me? In February of 2015, I flew to Bali for a yoga teacher training and women's leadership immersion. I spent a month up in the mountains redefining and working on myself. Just a few days after that training, and 3 days before I was set to fly out of Bali, I locked eyes with a guy who was sitting around a table with his friends at the beach. I trusted my gut, and I decided to sit down. That man is now my husband. I moved to Bali to start our life together there in December of 2015. And wouldn't you know it, just 3 weeks later, I had a booming 6-figure business. Not. Of course not. Here's what actually happened. I still had no job. I was terrified. I was posting regularly to the Western Massachusetts Craigslist page my ads for Skype Spanish tutoring lessons. Now, the more I stayed in Bali, the more I knew I wanted to start my own business. I was surrounded by other incredible, inspiring entrepreneurs, and I thought, I want to learn how to do that. But it did not happen overnight. What it took was a level of radical responsibility, self-trust, and a willingness to figure it out that I had never known before. Guys, I flew to Australia 2 weeks early before my husband's 40th birthday party to work a nannying gig so that I could afford to be there. For a year and a half, I wrote user documentation for a technology software company so that I could fund my stay in Bali, give myself some time, and figure things out. If you want success, stop believing the imagined mirage that leaping into your calling looks like a graceful swan dive into a heated infinity pool. Creating success actually requires 2 things. Number 1, that you are willing to work through the muck, the messy middle, that you're willing to be bad at the thing, whatever the thing is, as you work to get decent, and then better, and then good. Number 2, it requires that you keep going, that you learn to live and continue moving forward with the constant presence of uncertainty and no guarantees. You already know how to color within the lines, do what you're told, and play by the rules. Believing you are capable enough to write your own rules and then go excel within them, now we're talking next level you. And when I talk about creating success, I don't just mean starting your own business or elbowing your way to the top of your company or organization. I mean asking yourself what lights you up, what dream you want to pursue, and then deciding that you're going to go do it. Do you want to plan your first solo road trip? Do you want to finally publish your first blog post? Do you want to stop pretending that you're just a dabbling artist and finally submit that gorgeous thing that's been on your easel for the last 4 months to an art show? Whatever you want, you can do it when you decide. Your opportunities for success are directly linked with the level of risk you are willing to take. But make no mistake, when you do decide, some people around you may have strong opinions. And it's the fear of disappointing other people that's the 3rd biggest roadblock you need to overcome in order to rise. The concept of tall poppy syndrome dates back centuries to the time of Herodotus and Aristotle, which is the notion that those who excel, achieve, or stand out are castigated, outcast, looked down on by their peers for shining too bright. Modern translation, you get shade thrown at you for shining. While the United States is lauded as the most industrious, achievement-oriented nation in the world, we still see this play out today in communities, friend groups, families, especially for women. We're taught to believe that being humble, helpful, and moderate in our desires and ambitions is preferable. Drop-dead gorgeous, brilliant, creative, ambitious, connected, fulfilled on purpose? Can you really be all of that? You can, but not if you are too busy worrying if it will upset the people around you. If your growth makes someone else uncomfortable, it might be time to do some reevaluating. If you are afraid to lose the acceptance of someone in your life because you finally decided to claim what you really want, it might be time to ask yourself just how much that person's acceptance really matters to you. You are not here to be the backup singer to someone else's solo. This is your life. And I know, because I've been there, I get how scary this is and how devastating it can be. But know this: if the worst happens, if you are judged by someone whose high opinion once meant the world to you, you're going to get through it. And in fact, it will only grow your resilience. Because if you can look yourself in the mirror and say, this is the woman, this is the man, this is the person I am meant to become, then you must risk disappointing other people in order to become that, because that is the version of you that we all need. So how do you cultivate this? How do you practice this risk of rising into who you were meant to become? I want you to promise me something tonight, not tomorrow, tonight. When you go home, I want you to find a piece of paper and I want you to write down one dream, one goal, one ambition, one vision for your life. It doesn't matter how big or small. I want you to take it out, something that's been stuffed away, put it on the page. Tomorrow, when you wake up, I want you to look at it. And I want you to commit to taking action this week to move that dream just one step further. Every single one of us has genius inside. What if we were brave enough to act on it? Thank you so much.